have traveled into the future.
The future?
Well, looks like I forgot to update the service intro thing. So let's, you know what? Let's try this. We'll have that running in the background. Lovely, very good. Oh, forgot to put my camera on as well. You do so many things. You're going to be really wowed by the end. Let me tell you, you're going to be really wowed by the end. So yeah, we have that slideshow running there in the background. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Yeah, let's just if we hide that for a second, and then I can you know, like without you even knowing what's going on, I can just because usually I've got lots of smoke and mirrors to cover this up, but this week I'm having to do it like this because I'm stupid. And I've got something, like I said, I've got something really good for the end. So you know, we can wait for that, can't we? Okay, so brethren, sistren, and those that don't like to be pigeonholed, each of you freaks, geeks, and every one of you totally unique, welcome to the E-Chapel, for it is Friday night in the name of Our Lady. And what that means is that it's time for another Discordian service, which will, of course, be ending with the sacrament. Here are my sacraments here, still going on this jar here. You, of course, can grab anything. As I've noted previously, I've chosen these particular candies because they're small red cylinders, thus able to imitate a hot dog and transubstantiate into frankfurters in the mouth, which is weird because first of all you get sweet, then of course the miracle of transubstantiation happens, and then you're tasting sort of cold and slimy pork meat. But you know, that's what we give up. That's what we give, comfort in the mouth, good mouthfeel. That's what we give up in order to worship at the feet of the goddess. And yes, here we are, 27th, Sept means 7. In the year of Our Lady 2024, although there is some controversy about that. We'll come back to that in a short while. But now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the disclaimer, of course. The disclaimer. All acts of Discordianism portrayed herein are for spiritual entertainment purposes only. No spiritual enlightenment or transcendent experience is offered or implied. Leaps of faith and logical backflips are performed by trained sophists. Do not attempt to recreate them at home. Any resemblance to other religions, alive, dead, or merely untenable, is entirely coincidental. Hail Eris and Immanentize the Eschaton are brands of the Discordian Society. All associated intellectual property rights are probably also wrongs, just the way they are these days. Fnord. There we go. We've done that. That's good. We've done the disclaimer. So let us move on here. Oh yeah, order of service. Probably not right having it over my shoulder over there, up there. Yeah, probably better to have that in some sort of focus. So we'll go here. Yeah. So for the as we know, the cradle of familiarity grasps us all and brings us inward, and so it's the same stuff you've come to expect. We have deep thoughts, that is like our sermon, just some things that you can rattle around in the old head there, try and look through a lens that will break and fracture your view of reality. You're welcome. That's just what we do here. We take reality and we put it and we shake it all around, and then we pour the soupy mush that's left out, and we call that reality, or our new reality, our reality tunnel, if you will. Following that, Faces of Eris. Where has Eris been hiding this week? It's sort of like Where's Wally, only with like a goddess and stuff. Why is this? This is my other display. Why is that being unpleasant? Stop being unpleasant, you naughty display. I of course have it. A little glass of water there, well, beaker of water. Got to keep the mouth dry and, you know, the throat and so on. So I am wearing my extra robe this week because it's got a little bit colder, hasn't it? A bit autumnal, a bit colder than it was before. So I've got my my scarf here that tells you 100%. You know, there's the sacred cow, and then on the other side tells you that I'm a priest. So there we go. That's my scarf, and then of course the hat of office. You know, that's how it works. So anyway, after we've done Faces of Eris, we have the Reflective Tarot for this week. If you remember last week, we had the World, which led us on to a conversation about mandalas. Now, of course, one thing that should be noted is that the sacred cow here, yeah, that is a mandala. That represents a map of the entire universe. The Hodge and the Podge. One of them is order, one of them is chaos. I can't remember which way around that goes. I'm just a priest. But yeah, but the order. Well, we know that this this part here, which is either the Hodge or the Podge, that is chaos, and in it the pentagon of order. And then the other side, the Hodge or the Podge, whichever the opposite of the first one, that is order, and in it the apple of chaos. So yeah, so that's a mandala. Obviously, other mandalas are available. I was going to draw one myself, but I had a busy week, so I didn't. I'm just lazy. Really, I'm just lazy. Anyway, moving on from that, we have Kanda. Kanda is coming. It's always a great part of the ceremony. One time, of course, in the future, I fully anticipate that the monster of chat will be unleashed in this here space. It's coming. This every week, it's a ritual, and it summons the monster of chat, and it will happen because the numbers, the signs, the sigils are growing. Then we'll finish off, of course, with the weekly sacrament, and then we can all go about our business. I will be noting as this ceremony rolls past the 23rd minute of the hour, we will take a minute. I don't know what we're going to do with that minute, but it has occurred to me that we should really be marking the 23rd minute of the hour during the service. I should have like a special screen or a slide or something. We're already playing wacky music, so I'm hoping that the music isn't too loud. Why don't I just check that? Yeah, no, the wacky music is fine. I'm glad that that's right. I might turn it down just a little on the wacky music, so it hits there. That's better. Okay, so having done all that, we can move on now to deep thoughts. And the deep thinker this week, he has himself a glass of water. He wants to hydrate. He's also got a book and a notebook and a pencil, although that kind of looks like a mascara pencil. Maybe he's the kind of guy that likes to do his eyes while he's reading, although how he takes notes in the notebook then, I don't know. But maybe that's the secret. He simultaneously lines his eyes. Sorry, eyeliner, not mascara. Mascara is the little brush, isn't it? I'm a man. I identify as male. I don't really do eye makeup. Yeah, it's an eyeliner kind of pencil going on there. So maybe that's what he does. He lines his eyes and then he writes his notes in eyeliner. Screw you if you don't think that's correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right, okay. So what is this all about? I shall, of course, enlighten you. Okay. So this week we're going to be looking at holy books. On the left side of the screen there, of course, you see a traditional holy book. Could be any holy book. In fact, the search that I did for that image was old book. So it might not even be a holy book. Obviously, all images are, in some sense, lies. But, you know, I think we can recognise that that looks kind of like what you might expect a traditional holy book to look like, whether it is, in fact, an old Bible or the Necronomicon. Yeah, either one. It could be either one. It could be both. It could be a combination Bible and Necronomicon in one, with the verses of the Bible inked in ink and the rest of it inked in the blood of something or other. Might not be, might be human, might not be human. Might have been my cousin Ernie, might not have been. What do you mean you haven't seen Ernie about for a bit? He's just in the other room, I'll call him. Ernie? Oh, he's very shy, he's got laryngitis at the moment. Anyway, he's definitely alive and not dead and used as the source of ink for a book. What are you talking about? Get out. Okay, and then on the right we have the Principia Discordia. I believe the yellow cover there is the famous yellow covered Principia Discordia. My clue for that is that the cover that I have put there is yellow. And there is a famous version of the Principia Discordia which is called the yellow version. So there we are. So there we go. We have these two books. What is the difference between them, we may ask? Well, I want you to approach this with caution. I mean, to be fair, I could have put that cute triangle sign either side. I could have said about any holy book you should approach it with caution, because, as we are all aware by now, a Discordian is prohibited from believing anything that they read, including the holy text of the very religion itself. This is a very important katma of our religion. If you read the Principia, you must not believe it. And indeed, you know, this is something that we can all agree on. Any holy text, of course, contains lies. And the Principia Discordia is no different. Yeah, also contains many lies. Any holy text is filled with disinformation. And this is where the Principia Discordia locksteps with other holy texts. It has a bunch of disinformation in it. See my brief lunchtime sermon last week for details of that. Any other brand holy text has aged poorly. I mean, from whenever it was written, we might look at it with a modern eye, somewhat askance, and say, well, yeah, but these guys didn't know about TikTok. So how could they possibly have anticipated the flood of sources, other sources of lies and disinformation that you might get in this, the electronic internet age? And yes, indeed, the Principia Discordia itself has aged poorly. It was once a wonderful work of mischief and subversion for the counterculture of the 1960s. But now we can see it is just some college students mucking about with glue and paper and a photocopier, and you know, just you know, there's stuff that's obviously been produced under the influence of the devil's lettuce and stuff that comes out of the natural zeitgeist, cultural zeitgeist. Orientalism plays a part, you know, some sexism, the original Pope card telling you that you have to treat the Pope, you have to treat him right. It presumes your gender. It says that a woman can't be a Pope, which, as we all know, is a lie. Yeah, lies, disinformation, poorly aging. It's got it all. It's all there, people. So, you know, just bear that in mind. So yeah, but the other thing is that the other brand holy text has petty commandments. I mean, okay, so thou shalt not kill, probably a good rule of thumb. Principia Discordia doesn't make such a moral pronouncement, as we shall see, but probably good idea. But you know, my neighbour has an ass, I've coveted it, no harm has come to me. Yeah, I mean, that's just fine. Livestock attitudes towards coveting other people's livestock, it's come a long way. It's come a long way. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, so therefore, the other brand holy text has an air of moral superiority. And, you know, some people really dig that. You know, they're really like, hey, you know what? This book is morally superior to me. And why not? Because I am a worm. I am filth that crawls upon the ground. It occurs to me that I haven't booked in with Madam Discipline for a while. Really should book a session. You see, that's what they like. They like discipline. They like their book to dominate them, which, you know, I feel that if you're a Discordian, that kind of thing irks you. You know, a paperback shouldn't be telling you what to do, right? So the other thing that the other brand holy text does that is probably not, you know, 100% kosher, is that it claims to be the truth. Now, if there's one thing that we've got to learn in this day and age, is that there is no such thing as the truth. There isn't a truth, one singular truth. There's a truth, there's truthiness, there's, hey, seems legit, there's trust me bro. There's lots of different layers through which you could view the truth. And none of them are any more or less correct than any other. And so therefore, the Principia Discordia replaces petty commandments with jokes. So you've got lies and disinformation, and it's aged poorly, but at the end of the day, it doesn't take itself too seriously. As a reminder that you have been told explicitly not to take it too seriously, and that we should all not take ourselves too seriously. It eschews moral superiority, instead opting for moral anarchy. Yeah, hey man, I don't know, I didn't do it. You know, it's a few steps away from do as thou wilt is the whole of the law. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite, you know, doesn't have the worrying overtones of that, but at the same time it reserves itself from saying anything particularly moral. It says that morality is somebody else's problem, which is, you know, maybe a bit slopey shouldered for a holy text, but it's flawed, it's aged poorly, we have to live with it. If we want a moral framework, we can look elsewhere for such a moral framework, right guys? We're not incapable, we're all big adults and grown-ups and what have you. We can find our own moral framework without being told by a book what that should be. I mean, to be fair, when you state it like that, when you say, oh yeah, you know, like I get all my morals out of a book, you think, well, so what? You wouldn't be moral if you didn't read it in some book that claimed to be the truth. Which is another thing. Principia Discordia, even through the thing of prohibiting you from believing anything within its pages, is fully disclaimed. Yeah, so, you know, in these ways, although it shares a lot in common with other holy texts, the Principia Discordia can, in some senses, be held to be superior to other holy texts. But I would just like to run you through a little example of how it throws problems, roadblocks in our way when we consider the spirituality of the Principia. How are we to take it? Well, we, of course, in the Western world, run off the popular Gregorian calendar. Hence, as I said, tonight is the 27th of Sept means 7, a little Discordian twist there that is unique to the SWDP. The South Wales Discordian Press, by the way, if you've not been watching one of these here videos services before, South Wales Discordian Press, a press very proud to have never published a single sentence of anything, and yet dedicated to the pursuit of Discordian works. So yeah, there's the Gregorian calendar. It's very popular. We all know if you make an appointment in a Gregorian calendar, such as you might find in a popular piece of email client software, you're pretty sure that everybody will be able to get behind that. Whereas, for no other reason than it possibly seemed like the good idea at the time, the Discordians decided to have their own calendar. And there are some important differences which we shall here discuss, and plays that the Discordian calendar made to be more popular than its Gregorian counterpart. So let's have a look at some of this stuff now. So of course the Gregorian calendar has 12 months of varying lengths. Yeah, whereas the Discordian calendar has 5 months. And this is due to something called the Discordian Rule of Fives, which states that everything comes back to the number 5 eventually. If you follow any numerical pattern to its logical end, where it then ends up is 5. Now, I will draw your attention to the previous slide in which I said that the calendar had that Discordian book, the Principia, is full of lies and disinformation, and as I said, has aged poorly. So I'm merely putting on the camera and shrink down the thing because I am keeping an eye on the time, and it is soon to be the 23rd minute, Hail Eris, of the hour, which of course is a special minute in the service. In what way is it special? Well, I am trusting that the goddess will provide in that regard, because I frankly am busking it and have no idea. But we are about to hit that 23rd minute, and so Lord Cthulhu knows we should be expecting something to happen. In fact, that is the theme of this week's 23rd minute. We are going to give it a chance. Here we are, folks. It's the 23rd minute. 23rd minute. I want you all to focus. Focus on the fact that it is the 23rd minute of the service, and the goddess will provide. She will provide. I'm waiting for her to provide any time now, Eris. You want to provide? She could be really crappy, of course, and provide by dropping frames or making an internet disruption, but, you know, we're here for her, so I don't think she's going to do that. Yes, Eris, we're waiting. We're waiting for your intercession at this time. At this time, any moment. It's the 23rd. Maybe she's teaching us a lesson. Yes, definitely. She's teaching us a lesson about not placing our faith in arbitrary deities. That's absolutely what she's doing, and it's not just because I haven't prepared anything. The 23rd minute from now on, it's going to be important. It's important today, but for reasons that nothing whatsoever is happening. Okay, so that was it, the 23rd minute. I hope you really enjoyed that. I got a buzz out of it, certainly. So let's go back now. Let's go back to the presentation. So as I said, 5 months in the Discordian calendar versus 12 months in the Gregorian calendar, which is superior because 5 is a much easier number to count to than 12. If you are numerically challenged, then, you know, you have a much easier job counting up how many months there are in the Discordian calendar. And the Gregorian calendar has an inconsistent length of month. Some of the months are 30, some of the months are 31. One of them is 28, or sometimes it's 29. Whoa! Yeah. Now, the problem with the fact of us criticising that is that it is inherently chaotic. Whereas the Discordian calendar has 5 months, and each month has 73 days in it. They have a leap year concept as well. But what they do, instead of adding like a 29th day or whatever it is, they just have like a half day or a day that doesn't have a number every few years. And that's how they account for the leap year phenomenon. So that's great. That sets everything correct. The only thing that you will notice, therefore, is that that the number of days in a month is harder to count up to than in the 12-month model. Highest number you need there, 31. That's like, more than half of the length of each month in the Discordian calendar. And of course the Gregorian calendar has a smorgasbord of arbitrary holy days. They're not even consistent among countries. Now, although all the countries are using the same Gregorian calendar by some feat of just people going, hey, that'll do. It is very much a good enough kind of phenomenon. People have their holy days in different places. In the Western world, of course, we like Christmas, and we have our New Year, in the gap between December and January. December 31st, 1 year, January 1st the next year. That's all happy. That's how we see it, but then there's a Chinese New Year. That happens like halfway through February. So that's fine, people are allowed to do what they want. They can put the triple word scores on their calendar wherever they want, but it is. Whereas in the Discordian calendar, we have a consistent application of holy days. Every 10 holy days every year, the 5th of the month and the 50th of the month. Now, I noticed with this straight away that as each month has 73 days, that means you get one on the 50th, and then about 4 weeks later, one on the 5th, and then nothing for ages. So that's not very good. I don't like that kind of holiday. And obviously, in the Western calendars and what have you, you have the thing of having, having to. I'm actually going to go to my channel because it keeps putting this screen off. There we go, onto the channel, but no sound. Mute the site. There we go. We're good now. Okay, so that should probably keep that open. Okay, so that's fine. So I like having 2 holidays next to each other. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Easter, Good Friday and Easter Monday. I like to have those where it's, you just take a couple of days off, if indeed that's what happens. We've made legal shenanigans to make sure that some people, have to try really hard to get 2 days off in a row. To be honest, I'm not entirely. Consistent application of holy days as well means that they're always going to happen round about the same time every year, and that's too ordered for me. Easter, what the hell's with that? Sometimes it's backing up into March, and sometimes it's nearly at May. Chaos, beautiful chaos. So far, really, in chaos terms, the Gregorian calendar is winning, and the Discordian calendar is way behind. And of course, the Gregorian calendar, as we know from our services, well, we haven't yet because we haven't had 52 of these services yet, but we're working on it. This is like the 5th, or 6th, I can't remember, 5th, I think, 52-ish Fridays per year. Sometimes you might get 53. I don't think there's a case where you'd get 51, but you get a lot, over 50 Fridays every year in the Gregorian calendar. Hail to Eris. And of course, Friday is when we must go off and partake joyously of a hot dog by ourselves. Okay, so the Discordian calendar has no actual Fridays because it renames all of the days. Yes, the Discordian calendar has a 5-day week, as indeed it would. That doesn't mean there are 7 days, like there's 5 days and a weekend. It means that it just keeps rolling the same 5 days over and over and over again. So you just go through 5 and then you go through another 5. And so that does mean that, holy days and month days do, because there's 73 days but 5 days in the week, so you're always going to end and then there's going to be 2 days over, but none of those days are called Friday. So when the hell are you supposed to eat your hot dog, whoever it was came up with this ridiculous Discordian calendar? And this is in the Principia, it's Katma, so it's to be disbelieved, as we all do, but still, what the hell, man. And then of course in the Gregorian calendar you get 12 23rd of the months per year. Now, we've already had the 23rd of the minute of the service, and oh my gosh, what an event that was, yeah? But there's also a 23rd day of the year, yeah? And that's a 23rd day of the month. Yeah, we had ours on Monday. As I'm working out what to do with the 23rd minute of the service, or the 23 minutes past. It's not necessarily the 23rd minute of the service, but it is 23 minutes past the hour when the service begins. So we're already working out and I also want to work out what to do on the 23rd of, maybe not every month, maybe just where we've got it's convenient. No, hang it all, I think we're going to do something on the 23rd of every month, starting October. Now, one of the things about that is that the 23rd of October is my wife's birthday. And as this is the SWDP, maybe I can weave that in some way. Because, hey, I'm the big cheese top dog #1 of the SWDP. I'm the top of that particular pyramid scheme. But as I am an honest fellow, I'm the only person. So the only person I'm ripping off is actually myself. But anyway, in the Discordian calendar, as per the regulations of having 5 months, there are only 5 23rds of the month per year. So that's under half of the number of 23rds of the month for the other. So, you know, we've got this. It's canon. It's in the official handbook, guys. But would I suggest anyone actually follow the Discordian calendar, except as a curio? No, because it will confuse your outlook. I'm not sure that there's a way to change all of your calendar applications over to the Discordian calendar. It will confuse your associates. Yeah, it will confuse them proper. Yeah, because they don't know what the Discordian calendar is. It will leave you with fewer 23rds of the month per year. You will never know when to eat your hot dog. It's a mess. And frankly, I don't like it. So, just to finish up there, as we said, a Discordian is prohibited from believing anything that they read. And this tangentially implies that a Discordian is encouraged to believe whatever is convenient at the time. Love it. Yeah? Sometime the other day, someone suggested something on the Discordian subreddit. Oh yes, they encouraged me to believe that the phrase "don't whistle when you're pissing" actually had some magical implication, that there was some mystical core to the theory of not whistling while you're pissing. Yeah, and how if you followed that route and carried out the whistling when you're pissing ritual, eventually things would occur. And so I was like, okay, I'm game. I believed that. I believed it for about 15 minutes, I heard. And in that time of believing 100% that you shouldn't whistle while you're pissing, I did say it's even worse if you reverse it. If you piss while you're whistling, then even more bad shit happens. Yeah, it was great. I was in that. I was totally with it. I believed it. I was part of the whistle piss cult for a short while. Just a short while. And then the while passed and I cast it off. So the top one, you know, in the case of signs reading danger of death, you can be circumspect. You can say, I don't believe it. But then you have a think about it, as I've considered, and I've decided that although I don't believe the sign, I have thought about its implication that behind that door I might die because of something, and therefore I am choosing to believe that without necessarily believing the words written on the sign. Yeah, so that's a good way to approach being prohibited from believing anything that you read. But the other thing is that our tangent here, that you're encouraged to believe whatever you find to be convenient at the time. It certainly would be convenient had you read a sign saying danger of death behind this door, that it would be convenient for you to believe that possibly the sign wasn't entirely inaccurate. But the problem with this is that believing whatever you find to be convenient at the time comes with an inherent moral risk. Remember, I told this earlier, that you should have like a moral framework, that you should maybe pick one up from the store while you're there. Eggs, milk, oranges, moral framework. Yeah, just zoop them through the self-serve checkout and you will be able to get out, and there you have it. You should square whatever you find to be convenient to believe with that moral framework. Remember, there is a choice in the market. And so we move on to the Faces of Eris. In fact, this is a better shot for Faces of Eris. Here I am. This is my face. It's not the face of Eris. In case you were wondering, this is not a fake beard, and there isn't a goddess of chaos lurking underneath. Or is there? No, there isn't. There isn't. It's, or is there? No, I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm not going to peel my face off, do an old Nightbreed there to find out, because I'm thinking that might be a harmful practice, and that's not what we're about. No, this week we're with the Faces of Eris, and we're chilling at the Hotel California. That is right, I have left a small clue as to who the Face of Eris is in the title board. And we're going to here, of course, is the Nexus of Chaos, which is a slide I never thought would run as long as it has. And in the Nexus of Chaos, here comes Eris. Who is she? She is Lady Gaga. Well, there we go. We can leave now. That's self-explanatory, surely, which is interesting that I should say that. Because, in fact, the first thing that we're going to say is that Lady Gaga represents the principle of chaos from order. Yeah, we saw the Hodge the Podge, sacred cow earlier. We have the side of which is order that contains within it the apple of chaos. Well, Lady Gaga is certainly that, because if you were in a position to be a Lady Gaga stalker, or even if you just casually sort of took in her annual schedule of things that she was doing and places that she was being, you would quickly come to the conclusion, that she is hecka busy, right? She has probably got a team of people right there managing every single minute she has on the planet. This Lady Gaga does not have a great deal of free time, right? Her time is organized, but what comes out of that organization is what? Songs that are frivolous, they are pop, surely the most chaotic form of the Terpsichorean muse. There are movies and a wealth of different sort of icons that she inhabits, from classy vampires to Harley Quinn to a struggling pop star in that one film with Bradley Cooper, which frankly I wasn't a big fan of. But hey, she is always pushing, and noted, her Wikipedia page notes that she is known for being mercurial, for changing up what her iconography is on a regular basis, changing her image, as the young folk like to say. So out of this incredibly packed, dense life comes a profusion of dances of happy chaos. She celebrates the different. It's one of those things, you never know whether someone is doing a thing, inhabiting a persona, bringing it to the world, and underneath lies the murky depths of personal sketch. We've seen that story played out so many times, and who knows what we'll find out in the future. But right now, as of today, she is relatively sketch free, so we can be happy about that. And indeed, she is a cultural onion. One of the interesting things about Lady Gaga is, if you've thought about her at all, then there is a layer on which everything that you've thought is pretty much accurate. When I went to research this Face of Eris, and Eris came to me and said, come on, dude, I've been, a woman who was a cartoon character, myself, a dead dude, an old dead dude, like a philosopher, a random concept. I've been all of these things. Can we stick on the female side? I know that, just in order to really irritate certain people, that I am gender fluid, but mostly I've got like a coin slightly weighted toward female. Okay, so can we go with that? So that's how we're here right now. And Lady Gaga, you can think about her, and whatever you think is probably true. But when you look a bit further under then there's more to it than just your superficial thoughts and her superficial appearance. But then if you dig a bit further, no, it's just that after all. It's really hard to get a grasp on it, because it's either exactly what you think, nothing like what you think, and it's both of those things at the same time. It's paradoxical, layer after layer. Every time you peel one layer off, there's another layer underneath, and indeed one of them might be made of sandwich meat. So, that's a thing. Yeah, she's Heisenberg's uncertainty celebrity. What is she today? Is she a singer, an actor? Is she a philanthropist? Is she a political activist? All of them at once. None of them in particular. At any given moment, yeah, what is she inhabiting? The worshippers of Vodun, yeah, have a concept, the Loire, yeah, spirit gods that will possess a person if they make the right offering. Well, Lady Gaga's swirl of iconography and choice of, integration into challenging the worlds of fashion, pop, art, whatever you want to do, yeah, it leads to her being able to channel these energies, yeah, and you never know what you're going to get. You never know what any statement you make. Well, there are a few things, yeah, because she annoys all the right people. If you find someone really irritated by her, if you find yourself irritated by yourself, it's like that sort of thing. It's like the mirror, yeah? It's like, one of the things that you could say is that you find the obsession with fashion decadent, and her insistence on always pushing, out popular music, pop music, as being sort of low art, superficial. It's that. But the point is, as she came up with a concept of art pop, yeah, not pop art, the other way around, yeah, I think she came up with the concept, I don't know, or she just borrowed it. Who knows? Everybody borrows everything, don't they? So, whatever. But the point is that even as you find her annoying, you realise she's just holding a mirror up. I myself am very keen on the artistic aspects of seemingly low or trash culture stuff, such as comic book characters. People are sick, aren't they, of superhero movies? Well, I'm not sick of them, because as I once posed in a question I once posed in a podcast, if Spider-Man is so easy, if he's basically a money printing machine, then how is he so hard? Yeah, how is it that every movie that you make of Spider-Man isn't a golden gem? It is on the cusp, over 50% of them are pretty decent actually at this stage in history, but that means that just under 50% of them are trash, and yet Spider-Man's meant to be a license for printing money. How does that work, people? How does it work? And this is the same thing with Lady Gaga. It's like, if her art is, romama, bad romance, all of that stuff, if that is so shallow, then there's a depth underneath it, and there's other aspects to her character which also annoy people. And what you should think is, if someone's annoying everybody some of the time, then they must be doing something correct. And this is the thing, it's like sometimes some of stuff that she's done really good, but I do think she herself would probably agree that she would rather be admired than just worshipped. I'm sure there are some people, well, there are obviously super fans. Everyone has super fans. But I think the idea that, she garners a general level of admiration and acknowledgement that's universal is far more important than making sure that everyone who likes is just like fully on board. Because, you can do more work if you're living rent-free in more people's heads. And so, yeah, the fact that she's such a megastar, yeah, one of the few megastars of the current age, where she sort of everyone knows who she is and thinks they know what she's about, but it's a risky position. She is living in that area that I would be very keen not to ever live in, of being, famous and that, yeah, and having that huge level of fame is a risky, heavy hangs the head that wears a crown, isn't it, or whatever? She's up there, but to a certain extent, maintaining that position, at the top and all that, it entails giving away so much of her personal, like she has to be fronting that persona, or whichever persona she's inhabiting at the moment, so much of the time. I've heard so many stories of celebrities meeting her and being somewhat in awe, and they're going, yes, hello, I'm insert name of celebrity her, and her introducing herself by saying, yes, I am Gaga. Yeah? And that's the thing. Can you imagine being in a position where that seems like the sensible thing to say to someone? I believe her real name is Stephanie Germanotta. So instead of saying, hi, I'm Stephanie, I mean, a lot of people who are famous, whatever they're, known as to people, when they meet another person, that's how they introduce themselves. But she even introduces herself professionally by that handle, because there is a sense in which that affirmation is true, just as there is a sense in which the affirmation is false, and another sense in which it is meaningless. But she has glommed on to the truth and the meaning of that introduction, and that is where whoever she is inside, she feels safe introducing herself in such a way. So there we go. Hail Eris. This week you have shown yourself through the face of Lady Gaga, and we are all very happy you have done so. And so it has come once more to the time for the more improvisational part of the service, and that starts with Reflective Tarot. So last week, of course, mandalas, the world, the sacred cow, the ring light. That is it. My ring light is a mandala. That was my slam poetry for that week. You're welcome. So there we are. Right, we're going to go for it. Here we are, getting out the old deck. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do a high cut first. Now I'm going to move this keyboard slightly to one side. I'm going to cut. Now, I believe that in the short term, last week when we did this quick, I just got straight in there and did the 23rd card, which obviously is what you do in the case of an emergency. But here I have shuffled, I have mid-cut, and now I'm going to low-cut, because I high-cut first of all. So now we've got a thing, and now I'm going to go through. There's no one in chat at the moment. Should I use a random number generator, perhaps? Or should I just go by the seat of my pants? Oh, do you know what? In a matter of synchronicity, and because these happen, once a month, maybe I'll take the name of the day, the 27th. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I have that many fingers, I take a pause to. It's purely a finger thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's, I've gone through all my fingers again. But I'm not going to get to the end now, because we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's this week's card. We're all going to see it together. I'm anticipating a pitch invasion. I don't think it's not going to happen. No, it's fine. It's fine. No pitch invasion for me. That's good. That's good. That's excellent, in fact. Okay, so here it is. The Queen of Pentacles. Well, there is a thing. There is a thing indeed. Let us discuss the Queen of Pentacles. So this is an upper court. So if you remember my previous, I can grab it at the top there and hold it up like that. So if you remember my, blimey, the reflection is quite harsh. There we go. That's good. That's good. Right, I can bring it closer and closer. Oh no, there we go. That's lovely, lovely lighting. Okay, so the Queen of Pentacles. So it's an upper court queen. That's where we start. The Queen of Pentacles, and of course, if you remember the page, and I think it was the Page of Pentacles last time, which I have dubbed one of the most boring cards in the tarot deck. So we've moved on, right? But it is the reflection, whereas the Page of Pentacles seeks to change themselves in order to, well, and expects it to be consequence free. The Queen of Pentacles affects inner change upon themselves. Yeah, a figure, a human, an energy, a personal vibe that says, I'm going to make an inner change, and this, in turn, my new self, will change the world. Yeah, so that's the way the Queen acts, and the way that the Queen is choosing to change herself and therefore change the world on this occasion is through the device of the Pentacle, which, as we are already aware, is all about deep rooted emotion, which can be translated at some level as security. Yeah, so often represented career, wealth, money, but these are of course the affectations of personal security, and personal security can manifest in a number of ways, not all of them pecuniary or career focused. Yeah, and as well as which, what the Queen would be saying if we were in that particular realm is that I'm going to change the way I work, the way I am in my career, in order to affect change in the world. It is me. I am going to make the change in the world of work in order to affect this change in the world. So that is a way that you could view it. That's a fairly pedestrian way you can look at it. What they're basically saying is, in fact, it's more like I'm going to change my personal boundaries, and the way that I now interact with the world with these new boundaries is going to change the world. And what's really interesting about that is that when you say change the world, whose world is it going to change? We all have a world inside our head that is born of us regarding the world outwardly. Yeah, and so the world that one may seek to change through queenish change is one's own. But you are expecting a consequence. It's not just, identity play. That is not where we're at this time. So that is this week's reflective vibe. Is the idea of how to change yourself, how to change your boundaries, whether that needs to happen. Do you need to change the world in that aspect? Answers on my desk by next Thursday, so that I have time to mark them for the service next week. Okay, so it's time for Kanda. Now, I'm noting still that there are no Qs, and therefore I can provide no As. Now, the only difference between that and having Qs is that I had Qs, I still wouldn't have any As. But at least we'd have some Qs. Yeah? I mean, people love queuing, particularly in this country, the United Kingdom. So what I'm going to use this small space to do is address a little matter of housekeeping. You will note at the conclusion of today's service that the end title has had a glow up, and part of that glow up is a direction indeed toward social media presence of myself, and I think shortly I may use that same space for the SWDP. It does seem a bit premature, seeing as things are a little quiet around these here parts, to be doing that now. But what I would like is for people to be coming along, supporting, getting the news. I know that a lot of people have been enjoying the services, in their asynchronous form. I still think it is worthwhile pursuing the synchronous 7 p.m. It might not always be 7 p.m. I have actually been thinking that if we started the service at 10:30 UK time, then we would in fact hit the 23rd minute at 23 minutes past 11, or in the 24-hour clock, 23:23. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I don't know what would happen if I did that, but one day we might find out. The thing that I'm hesitant about with that is that I don't want to give my wee chidler an excuse to be bouncing around, staying up way too late on a Friday night. So that we might have to wait for that one, or reserve it for certain special occasions. But there will be a 10:30 service one Friday, definitely. Or indeed, if we can coincide it. I have had a look. Next year, I think we get 2 months where the Friday the 23rd comes up. And it might be that I start then, but not till next year now. So we got to find, there will be a time when I try and find a time to do, you know, so it's 23 on the 23rd. Chaos Magic. Okay, so we can look out for that one. So yeah, look out for that end title card. It's a doozy. And we move on once more. Of course, we move on. It is time, folks. It is time for the weekly sacrament. Are you there, Eris? It's me, Sausage Muncher. That is what we're saying. Well, we're not just saying that, of course. Here at the SWTP Chapel, we have a little token to throw out during this time. I'm getting my sacrament ready. If you recall from the beginning, it's a small red candy noodle such as this, and before we go, we are now going to, as it says, we are going to stick apart together. We are going to go off on our own all together here now, whether virtually as in asynchronously or right now. We're going to stand apart, we're going to stick apart, and we are joyously going to by ourselves, even with other people, consume our sacrament, the hot dog, the holy hot dog of Eris. Remember, no bun. Yeah, and we say the sacramental oath. I could not find a hot dog, not even with a bun. So I eat this candy noodle because devotion comes with fun. Hail Eris. I am partaking joyously.
I don't like the sound of that.
Wow. Just taste the spiritual vibes. Or intensely intense amounts of sugar. It's one of those two things, I guarantee. So there we go. That was the sacrament. And as such, that brings us to the conclusion of this week's service. As I said, as you're probably aware if you're watching this on YouTube, after the live broadcast on a Friday night here from the SWDPE Chapel, we do in fact upload to YouTube, where you can enjoy on an asynchronous basis. A gift of the goddess, the asynchronicity of such. And actually, if you are here at the end of the service, having consumed your sacrament, we're going to have a word to put in the comments. And the word this week is Sweet Boom, which I believe is one of the... I'm going to check, actually. I have to my hand a copy of the print. It's not the yellow cover, as you can see, but it is consistent with all our copies, so therefore the calendar is on page 34. Oh, Sweet Morn, Boom Time. Let's go for Boom Time. That's good, right. So there we go. Second day of the Discordian week, Boom Time. Yeah, so if you've watched this part of the video, write Boom Time in the comments. Of course, all that stuff, you know, going over to Twitch and following me, liking and subscribing, hitting any notification bells you may find, all of that helps to grow the ministry and bring the service to even more people in dire need of having their brains scrambled. And indeed, they can come and try and scramble my brains. It's an anyone comes, anyone tries situation over there in the chat. I am actively trying to invoke the beast of chat. Why? I don't have a protective sigil drawn on the floor. I am just here. I'm just a Discordian minister standing in front of a flock saying, try and screw in my brain, because, you know, it needs it. It feels a little too ordered. So come and confuse me. Yeah, absolutely. By any channel that you would like, come to my Facebook page. You know, maybe don't slip into my DMs. That's That's not good. I don't like that. No. But because we want to see publicly, you know, you yourself, it must be an equal meeting of nonsense, yeah, where your nonsense can provoke another's nonsense. It's aiming to provoke my nonsense, but my nonsense equally could aim to provoke your nonsense. It's a whole nonsense exchange, and it's what our brains need, okay? It's helpful, it's good. It's like the reverse of an accountability group. It's a, hey man, I don't know, I didn't do it group. And that's what we all need, I think, in this world. A little less accountability and a little bit more, hey man, I don't know, I didn't do it. So there we go. And those are the words, I think, with which we shall close this week's service, despite the fact that I have been sat here for nearly an hour doing the service. I am going to tell you now that I don't know, man, because I didn't do it. Hail Eris. See you all next time.
The Martians are incoming. The Martians are incoming.